knock on the doorbell. Ring doorbell. We need to. What's going on?
Do you live here?
Yeah.
You do?
Papa.
I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe that.
So what are you doing here?
Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
Hey.
Did someone come here?
That was my wife. Somebody chased her up here. And she had the kids.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in a
There was a
silver
guy
truck.
in a gray truck, and he came
So
around the corner,
I don't know if you guys have a
I was
reading.
in the street, and so I come up, and I just saw my kids, and so I'm like gonna pretend that I'm coming home, and so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate, and he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope," and then he sat here, and I was like, "I need to get in."
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's a lady screaming, and I'm like, that's.
She got all worried that some.
Scared the crap out of me.
How?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
How did he scare you
I
though?
had a feel.
I just seen her in the driveway and I was like, are you looking for somebody? Because I was pulling up out
And I
home.
saw someone walking in our driveway too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
Well, I'm
Well, there
sorry.
we got it. All right, sorry.
What?
I don't.
She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
No, you came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with two kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? I was like,
Yeah, he did.
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said, I don't think you do.
It was obviously you could tell that I was really caught off guard.
Like I'm pulling in my, it's like I'm pulling in my house. Like this is not, this neighborhood is probably one of the best neighborhoods in Ohio.
It is.
I don't, you don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Well, I'm very sorry. I really hope that you're not upset with me.
Come on, baby, go in the house.
I-
Let's go.
You told me that I didn't. You said you didn't think I live here.
It was
That-
the way that you were talking. I was so caught off guard. I'm so sorry.
Right off the bat, I'm going to let you know. I'm shooting her some bail. It's the middle of the night. She said her car's creeping. He admitted the car's driving kind of slow. He's admiring the lights. He doesn't know what's going on. It's a lady walking up in the driveway. He says, hey, can I help you? She's scared. She's got two kids, one in the stroller, but both pretty young. She says, no, you can't. There's nothing you can do to help me. I'm perfectly fine. Guy in the creepy car that's moving very slow behind me. And then she goes and knocks on the door or rings the doorbell and runs down the road screaming help.
You can't say that.
Is he allowed to say
I'll
that?
say it louder. All of this could have been avoided by a conversation that ended, I think, a little too quick. There wasn't enough back and forth between them to get an understanding, and now she's online being called a racist. Part of that is absolutely her fault, and part of that is a mom that has kids in a fight or flight situation that she feels like. Regardless of if they're in an affluent neighborhood or if they're in the hood, you have somebody admittedly driving kind of slow, you're with your kids. It doesn't look to be a good situation, especially for a woman, a small woman. This is America. Like Childish Gambino said, we know there's absolutely racism here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whether it's overt or covert, there is racism in America. But I honestly don't, that this lady was intending to be racist. We've already established that this lady is small. She's got two kids. There's a car creeping up behind her. She did the best audible that she could by going up on the porch of a house that she thinks she has some sort of protection. There's no way to know that. He could be lying, he could be not. But it's an affluent neighborhood. We know that things can happen in affluent neighborhoods. Is it likely to happen? No. It's more likely to happen in the inner city or somewhere where people don't have a lot of money, a lot of opportunities. But having money and living in a nice neighborhood does not exclude you from being a participant in the bullshit. Somebody could be coming to your neighborhood looking to do you harm. And for that reason, I'm going to shoot her bill. Now she's got people online, they're calling her racist, saying that she racially profiled this guy. Even though it was dark, she might not have been able to see. That's her claim. She says she didn't even know that the guy in the car was black.
Finally, to get to a woman's house, I'm bang on the door. And at this point, I'm dialing 911. And I said, can I please come in? And the woman said, yes, come in. And so I'm staying there. I'm talking to the sheriff. And more than anything, I was not looking for him to come to my rescue at this point. My husband was going to come. I'm in this woman's house. The door is closed. And I tell the man, he said, do I need to come out? And I just said, no. I said, I was just calling to let you know that this just happened. My husband's going to come get me. And he says, he asked me if I wanted him to come out. And I said, no. And so the woman then, I was at her house, she literally asked me and said, she said, I don't know how to ask this. She goes, but was it a black man? Because she goes, it's a black family that lives there. And I said, no, I believe that this is a white man. He was a white man in a truck. A young white man is what I said. And she said, okay. She goes, because that's a black family that lives there. And I said, no, I don't think that it was a black man. And then when my husband got there, I stood out front, and we're still trying to get the Ring doorbell footage of me talking to my husband. But he asked me again, he said, what house was it? And I said, it was this house right here. And he goes, are you sure it wasn't a black guy? He goes, because that's a black family. And I said, no, I don't believe that it was a black man.
Right there, we see that the lady, she says, I didn't even know it was a black guy. I thought it was a young white man. I see how we could get to that conclusion. I see how you could be in a fight or flight situation, not really paying attention to the color of the person's skin. Now, I'm not a racist apologist by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think that this was a racially charged incident. I don't think that it was. I don't know this lady, and I don't know her history. But I'm 6'1", 230 pounds, and if I see a car creeping up behind me, no matter what neighborhood I'm in, I'm going to absolutely be on alert. I might not be running down the street yelling help like this lady did, but I'm going to be on alert. I'm going to know what is going on in this situation. Are we going to hell or jail at the end of this encounter that we're about to go through? Luckily for her, it didn't end up being any further of a situation. It was the homeowner who she didn't recognize. I don't know if they're newer to the neighborhood or she's newer to the neighborhood. I don't know if her husband's met him. She just hasn't met him, because she did say that her husband informed her it's a black family at that corner house. But she didn't know. And she's with 2 kids, not worried about if the person is black or white. She's worried about, is she about to be in a situation that ends in her family being harmed? That's what I see in this situation. I don't know her history. On the flip side of that, as a black person in America, I understand how the father and the husband could feel like he was being racially profiled. I pull up to my house, and it's an affluent neighborhood. I assume that if you're talking to me, we're having a conversation, you can see me. So when I tell you I live here and you tell me you don't believe it, why don't you believe it? Is it because you see my hair and my skin and you don't believe that I can afford to live in this neighborhood? That's the way it looks from the perspective of the father. He doesn't know that this lady thinks that she's seeing a white man, or at least that's her claim. All he knows is somebody creeping up his driveway. So he says, hey, can I help you? No, you can't help me, which is a logical response on her behalf and a logical response on his behalf. This entire situation seems to be a miscommunication. Of course, the internet is reporting on it and people are saying she is being racist. But if we look at all the facts objectively, you have somebody creeping in the car, going up to a house. The lady's out with her kids. She feels like she's being followed. She asks the person if they live there. They say yes. She doesn't believe them. She runs. That's one perspective. On the other perspective, a guy coming home late at night, admiring the Christmas lights that they put up at their house. He sees somebody going to his driveway. So he's kind of creeping up. He's like, what's going on? He gets to the end of the driveway. He rolls down the window. Somebody asks him, do you live at this house? He says yes. He assumes she has a clear view of his face because they're having a conversation. And she says, I don't think that you do, and yells down the road as if he's actively pursuing her. It does absolutely look like a racist situation. Or It could just be an honest mistake. Let's see what the internet has to say. Antonio Marshall says, this is how Emmett Till died, and Rosewood and Oscarsville was destroyed from the tears and lies of a white woman. We don't believe you, or do we trust your actions? Evidence cannot be denied. If you don't know what they're talking about with Rosewood and Oscarsville, they're talking about neighborhoods that were affluent black neighborhoods that were destroyed because of jealousy that black people were succeeding after slavery. Lucas says, so the suspicious activity she described is a man driving into his own driveway. He gets weird because she's randomly on his porch telling him he doesn't live there. I'm confused on how she's not owning up and apologizing here. She did actually apologize. She said she apologized multiple times. I didn't want to play her entire video. She posted about 3 or 4 of them, and they're long. They're like 7 to 10 minutes each. We're not going to get into all of that. We get a gist of the situation. We don't need to go 7 minutes into a video of her explaining herself. Victoria's Secret says, playing victim and speaking out, trying to save her brand while still making excuses, saying things like, I don't think I overreacted. His tone wasn't welcoming, etc. This could have gone so far left because she overreacted and didn't think while being on his property. Save the tears. Obviously, there's a huge sentiment that's saying she's in the wrong here, and I agree. But I also see from her perspective how we got here, and I see from his perspective why he thinks he was being racially profiled. Just an awkward situation, a situation that could have been avoided by getting to know the people that live in your neighborhood. But this is America. If you like the video, subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. And if you have thoughts on this situation or the current state of America and racism in general, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. Till next time, peace.